Dr. Kim Tae-ho pulled his thick coat tighter around his body as the Arctic wind cut through the camp. The ice stretched endlessly in all directions, white and silent under the gray sky. He had been working in cold places for 15 years, but this part of the Arctic felt different. It felt like the world was holding its breath. "The radar is picking up something strange," called Dr. Park Ji-woo from inside the main research tent. Her voice carried worry that made Tae-ho hurry toward her. Inside the warm tent, Ji-woo stared at her computer screen with wide eyes. The ground radar showed something that should not exist. Deep under the ice, 50 meters down, was a massive shape. It was too big to be a rock and too perfectly shaped to be natural. "Look at this," Ji-woo said, pointing at the screen. "The metal detector says it's made of something we don't know. And the shape. It's like nothing I've ever seen." Captain Jang Min-ho entered the tent, shaking snow from his boots. He was a practical man who had led many Arctic missions, but when he saw the radar image, his face went pale. "How big is it?" he asked quietly. "Nearly 200 meters long," Ji-woo answered. "And it's been down there for a very long time. The ice layers above it are ancient." Tae-ho felt his heart beat faster. In all his years as an archaeologist, he had never found anything like this. The shape on the screen looked smooth and curved, almost like a giant egg buried in the ice. "We need more people," Min-ho said. "If this is what I think it is, we'll need heavy equipment to dig it out." Within 3 days, their small research camp had grown into a busy operation. Lee Dong-min arrived with a security team and enough supplies for a month. Dr. Choi Hana came with special equipment to study any strange energy the object might give off. Yoon Soo-bin brought communication gear that could reach anywhere in the world. The digging began on a Tuesday morning when the wind was calm. The ice was harder than stone and progress was slow, but as they dug deeper, everyone could feel that something important was waiting below. "The metal readings are getting stronger," Hana reported from her instruments. "Whatever this thing is made of, it's not from Earth. The atomic structure is completely different from any metal we know." Dr. Lim Bo-ra, the team's medical officer, kept watch over everyone's health. The work was hard, and the cold was dangerous, but nobody wanted to stop. Even the newest team member, engineering specialist Kang Hyun-woo, worked without complaining. On the 5th day, they reached it. The first glimpse took everyone's breath away. Under the lights they had set up, they could see smooth metal that seemed to glow with its own soft light. The surface was covered with patterns that looked like writing, but no writing that anyone on Earth had ever seen. "My God," whispered Oh Soo-jin, the data analyst. She had seen many strange things in her work, but nothing like this. The object was clearly artificial. It had been built, not grown or formed by nature. The curves and angles were too perfect, too purposeful, and it was huge. As they cleared more ice away, they realized they were looking at only a small part of something much larger. "It's a ship," Tae-ho said, his voice full of wonder. "Some kind of spacecraft." Min-ho nodded grimly. "The question is, who built it? And when?" Ji-woo was already taking pictures and making notes. "The ice layers tell us it's been here for at least 12,000 years. Maybe longer. But look at the condition it's in. There's no rust, no damage from the ice. It's like it was buried yesterday." As they worked to expose more of the ship, strange things began to happen. Hana's instruments started picking up faint energy signals. The patterns on the ship's surface seemed to change in the light, showing different symbols and designs. "There's definitely power still running inside this thing," Hana said, checking her readings again. "Very low levels, but it's active." That night, as the team sat around their heaters drinking hot coffee, nobody talked much. They all knew they had found something that would change everything. But they also knew they were not prepared for what they had discovered. "We need to be very careful," Lee Dong-min said. "If this really is what it appears to be, then we're dealing with technology far beyond anything humans have ever made. We don't know if it's safe." Tae-ho agreed, but he also felt a pull toward the ship that he could not ignore. As an archaeologist, he had spent his life uncovering the past. But this was different. This was not human past. This was evidence that humans were not alone in the universe. The next morning brought clear skies and calm winds. Perfect conditions for the next step. They had found what looked like an entrance, a section of the ship's hull that had different markings around it. "I think this might be a door," Hyun-woo said, running his hands along the smooth metal, "but I don't see any way to open it." As he spoke, something incredible happened. The symbols around the entrance began to glow brighter. Lines of soft blue light spread across the ship's surface like water flowing through hidden channels. The metal hummed with quiet energy. "Everyone step back," Dongmin ordered, his hand moving to his weapon, but Tai-Ho felt no fear. The light was beautiful, not threatening. It pulsed gently like a slow heartbeat, like the ship was waking up after a very long sleep. "It's responding to us," Jiwoo said with amazement. "Somehow it knows we're here." The entrance made a soft sound and opened. Not like a door sliding or swinging, but like metal flowing away like liquid. Beyond the opening, they could see a corridor filled with the same gentle blue light. Cool air flowed out of the ship, carrying strange scents that none of them recognized. The air was clean and fresh, as if the ship had its own atmosphere that had been preserved for thousands of years. "Incredible," breathed Subin. "The ship is still alive." They stood at the threshold of the greatest discovery in human history, looking into a corridor that led deeper into mysteries they could barely imagine. The ship waited patiently, its lights glowing softly in the Arctic darkness, ready to reveal secrets that would change humanity forever. The inside of the alien ship was nothing like what any of them had expected. The corridors were wide and curved, with smooth walls that gave off soft light. The air was warm and clean, much warmer than the frozen Arctic outside. It felt like walking inside a living thing rather than a machine. Dr. Kim Tae-ho led the way with his flashlight, even though they didn't really need it. The ship's own lights seemed to brighten as they walked, as if the vessel was welcoming them. Behind him, Dr. Park Ji-woo took pictures of everything, her camera clicking constantly. "The walls have symbols everywhere," Ji-woo said, her voice full of excitement. "Look at these patterns. They're not just decoration. This is some kind of writing system." The symbols covered every surface. They were beautiful and complex, flowing like water frozen in time. Some looked like pictures of stars and planets. Others were completely abstract, made of curves and lines that seemed to mean something important. Captain Jang Min-ho stayed close to Lee Dong-min, both men alert for any sign of danger. But the ship felt peaceful, almost sleepy. Their footsteps echoed softly in the quiet corridors. "How old did you say this ship was?" Min-ho asked. "At least 12,000 years, Tae-ho replied. "But everything looks brand new. There's no dust, no wear, no damage at all." They came to a large room filled with strange equipment. Tall columns reached from floor to ceiling, covered with blinking lights and moving displays. In the center of the room stood several pod-like containers, each one sealed with transparent material. Dr. Choi Hana immediately pulled out her instruments to scan the area. "The energy readings in here are much stronger," she reported. "These machines are definitely active." Yoon Subin set up her communication equipment in the corner and began testing different frequencies. To her surprise, her radio started picking up signals from inside the ship itself. "There's some kind of transmission coming from deeper inside the ship," she said. "Very faint, but it's there. Almost like the ship is talking to itself." Dr. Lim Bo-ra approached one of the sealed pods carefully. Inside, she could see something that made her gasp. "There's a body in here," she called out. "But it's not human." The others gathered around the pod. Through the clear material, they could see a tall figure lying peacefully inside. The being had long limbs and pale skin that seemed to shimmer slightly. Its head was larger than a human's, with closed eyes that looked almost too big for its face. "It's perfectly preserved," Bo-ra said in wonder. "Like it's sleeping, not dead. The pod must be some kind of stasis system." They found more pods, each containing a similar being. None of them were awake, but they all looked peaceful and undamaged by time. "Who were they?" Min-ho asked quietly. Ji-woo was already working on that question. She had found a wall covered with symbols and was trying to make sense of them using pattern recognition software. "Give me time," she said. "These symbols repeat in certain ways. If it's really a language, I should be able to find patterns." Engineering specialist Kang Hyun-woo was fascinated by the technology around them. The machines were far more advanced than anything on Earth, but somehow they felt familiar, like they were built by minds that thought in ways humans could understand. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a control panel. "The buttons and displays are sized for hands like ours. Maybe not exactly like human hands, but close enough." Oh Soo-jin was busy recording everything with her equipment. "The data storage systems in this room are enormous," she reported. "If we could access them, we might learn everything about whoever built this ship." As if responding to her words, one of the displays suddenly came to life. Symbols and images began flowing across its surface, too fast to follow. Then slowly, The display settled on a single image that made everyone in the room go silent. It was a picture of Earth. Not a modern picture, but Earth as it looked thousands of years ago. The continents were in slightly different positions and the ice caps were much larger, but it was definitely their planet seen from space. They were here, Tejo whispered. They came to Earth. More images appeared on other displays. Pictures of stars and planets, star maps showing routes through space, and what looked like charts of different solar systems. This was clearly a ship built for long journeys between worlds. Ji-Woo's computer beeped with success. I'm starting to understand some of these symbols, she announced. This word here appears many times. I think it's their name for themselves. It sounds like a run. She pointed to other symbols she had decoded. And this word appears whenever they show pictures of Earth. I think it means young world or maybe new world. Subin's radio suddenly crackled with a clearer signal. The transmission is getting stronger, she said. It's like something inside the ship is trying to communicate. The lights in the room grew brighter and new displays came online. The ship seemed to be responding to their presence, slowly waking up from its long sleep. Maybe we should be careful, Dongmin said, his hand resting on his weapon. We don't know what we're dealing with here. But Hana's instruments showed no signs of danger. The energy patterns are stable, she reported. Whatever's happening, it doesn't seem hostile. One of the largest displays showed what looked like a library or database. Thousands of symbols scrolled past, organized in neat rows and columns. It was clearly a massive collection of information. This isn't just a ship, Tejo realized. It's a research vessel. They were scientists like us. The thought was both exciting and humbling. These beings, these Aran, had been exploring space and studying other worlds when humans were just learning to farm and build cities. Ji-Woo made another breakthrough with the language. This section seems to be about Earth, she said, pointing to a cluster of symbols. But I'm getting a strange translation. It says something like unusual development or unexpected change. Bora had found more information about the Aran themselves. The medical scanners in their pods showed that they were remarkably similar to humans in many ways, but with some important differences. Their brains were larger and their bodies were built for lower gravity. They lived longer than humans, she reported. Much longer. Some of these readings suggest lifespans of several thousand years. As the team worked through the ship's systems, they began to piece together the story. The Aran were an ancient race of explorers and scientists. They had traveled between stars, studying different worlds and the life forms on them. Earth had been just one stop on a very long journey. But something had gone wrong. The ship had crashed or been forced to land in the Arctic. The crew had gone into stasis, probably hoping to be rescued by other Aran ships. The rescue had never come. How long have they been sleeping here? Minho asked. According to the ship's records, about 8,000 years, Ji-Woo answered. They've been waiting here almost as long as human civilization has existed. The ship's main computer continued to activate more systems. Lights came on in distant corridors and the soft humming of machinery grew stronger. It was as if the ship was preparing for something. I think it knows we're here, Subin said. The signals I'm picking up are getting more complex, almost like it's trying to talk to us. Hyunwoo had managed to interface some of his equipment with the ship's systems. The technology is incredible, he said. I can't understand most of it, but the parts I can see are thousands of years ahead of anything we have on Earth. As night fell outside the ship, the team realized they had found something far more important than just an ancient spacecraft. They had discovered proof that Earth had been visited by intelligent beings from another world, beings who had been studying humanity before humans even knew they were being watched. The ship waited patiently around them, its systems slowly coming back to life after thousands of years of silence. Deep in its databases lay secrets that could change everything humans thought they knew about their place in the universe. But first, they had to learn to communicate with the ship itself. And somewhere in its electronic memory something was stirring, something that had been waiting a very long time to meet the strange young species that had found its way aboard an ancient vessel from the stars. 3 days had passed since they first entered the Aran ship, and Dr. Park Ji-Woo had barely slept. She sat surrounded by printouts and computer screens, working frantically to decode more of the alien language. The breakthrough had come that morning when she realized the symbols weren't just words, but complete ideas compressed into single characters. I've got something big, she called to Dr. Kim Tae-ho, who was examining artifacts in another part of the ship's main laboratory. "You need to see this." Taeho hurried over to where Jiwoo sat staring at a massive display screen. The screen showed what looked like a three-dimensional map of stars, with thousands of points of light connected by glowing lines. "It's a map of this part of the galaxy," Jiwoo explained, her voice shaking with excitement. "But look at this. Each point represents a world with intelligent life. There are thousands of them." The scale was overwhelming. Earth appeared as just one tiny dot among countless others, connected to the network by thin lines that must represent travel routes or communication paths. Yoon Subin looked up from her communication station. "The ship's been trying to connect to something," she reported. "Long-range signals going out into space, but there's no response coming back." Dr. Choi Hana had been studying the ship's power systems and made her own discovery. "This vessel can travel faster than light," she announced. "The engine systems are based on physics we don't even understand yet. They could cross the galaxy in months, not centuries." Captain Jang Min-ho and Lee Dong-min exchanged worried looks. The military implications of such technology were staggering, but it was Jiwoo's next translation that shocked. "Everyone into silence. The ship's database contains detailed files on every species in this galactic network," she said slowly, "including us. Including humans." She pulled up Earth's file on the main screen. The document was extensive, filled with observations and data that went back thousands of years. Pictures of ancient human civilizations, studies of human behavior, detailed analysis of human technology and social development. "They've been watching us," Taeho said quietly, "for millennia." The file contained information about human wars, human art, human science, and human culture. But most disturbing were the predictions and classifications. Humanity was listed under a special category that Jiwoo translated as rapid development, anomalous pattern. Kang Hyun-woo had been working on connecting human computers to the ship's systems, and he finally achieved a stable link. Immediately, new information began flowing across their screens. "The ship's artificial intelligence is active," he reported. "It's been learning our language from our computers. It wants to communicate." Text began appearing on their screens, first in iron symbols, then slowly shifting to broken English as the AI learned their language in real time. "Greetings. Young humans" appeared on the main display. "This unit has waited long time." Dr. Limbora had been monitoring the stasis pods containing the Aran crew. "Their life signs are still stable," she reported. "But I don't think they're just sleeping. I think they're in some kind of deep preservation state. They might not wake up even if we tried to revive them." The AI's English improved rapidly as it processed more of their language. Within hours, it was communicating clearly. "I am the ship's knowledge keeper," the AI explained through text on their screens. "My purpose is to record and preserve information about intelligent species throughout the galaxy. My crew has been in deep stasis since our ship was damaged during an emergency landing on your world." Oh Soo-jin was downloading as much information as she could from the ship's databases. What she found painted a picture of a galaxy teeming with life, but also filled with dangers. "Most of these civilizations are very old," she reported. "Some have existed for millions of years. But look at their development patterns. They all follow the same basic path. Slow, steady progress over vast periods of time." The AI confirmed this observation. "Most species require millions of years to develop space travel," it explained. "The average time from basic intelligence to faster-than-light travel is approximately 2 million years. Some species take much longer." "How long did it take humans?" Taeho asked. "According to our records, humans developed from basic agriculture to spaceflight in approximately 12,000 years. This rate of development is unprecedented in our database." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "You're saying we developed too fast?" Jiwoo asked. "Not too fast," the AI corrected. "Impossibly fast. Our models suggest that human development should have taken at least 50 times longer. Your species exhibits adaptation and innovation rates that our science cannot explain." Lee Dong-min leaned forward. "Is that why you were studying us?" "Initially, we classified Earth as a standard developing world," the AI replied. "But our periodic observations showed changes that should not have been possible. Human technology advanced in leaps rather than gradual steps. Your social structures evolved and adapted to new challenges with unprecedented speed." The AI showed them comparison charts, While other species showed steady, predictable development curves, humanity's progress looked like a series of explosive jumps. The development of agriculture, writing, mathematics, industry, and space travel had all happened in rapid succession compared to galactic norms. We were attempting to determine if humans represented a new type of intelligence when our ship experienced critical systems failure, the AI continued. We were forced to make an emergency landing and enter stasis while waiting for rescue. What happened to the rest of your people? Minho asked. The AI paused before responding. Long-range communications have been silent for 8,000 years. We believe our civilization may have fallen to the Keth during our absence. Who are the Keth? Hana asked. New images appeared on the screens. Dark angular ships and warrior-like beings in heavy armor. The Keth looked nothing like the peaceful Aran. Where the Aran were tall and slender, the Keth were broad and muscular. Where Aran technology was curved and organic, Keth technology was sharp and aggressive. The Keth are conquerors, the AI explained. They spread across the galaxy by defeating other civilizations and taking their technology. Most species cannot resist them because they develop slowly and peacefully. By the time they recognize the threat, it is too late. But humans are different, Subin said, understanding beginning to dawn. Yes, human development patterns suggest your species might be capable of adapting and responding to threats much faster than other civilizations. This is why we were studying you so carefully. The AI showed them more data from the galactic database. Civilization after civilization had fallen to the Keth over the past 10,000 years. The pattern was always the same. The Keth would arrive at a peaceful world, overwhelm its defenses and absorb its technology and resources. How many civilizations have they conquered? Teho asked. In the past 10,000 years, approximately 237, the AI replied, including, we believe, our own. Hyunwoo studied the technical data about human development. So our ability to innovate quickly, to adapt to new situations, to change our technology and society rapidly, that's what makes us different. Correct. Most species reach technological stability and remain unchanged for millions of years. Humans seem incapable of staying the same for more than a few generations. This constant change and adaptation is virtually unique in the galaxy. Bora looked at the medical data about different species. Is it biological? Something in human genetics that makes us different? Partially, the AI answered. But it appears to be more than genetics. Human culture actively encourages change and innovation. Your species treats new ideas as opportunities rather than threats. Most galactic civilizations eventually develop cultural stability that prevents rapid change. The team realized they were looking at a complete picture of galactic civilization and humanity's strange place in it. They were the youngest species, the fastest developing species, and possibly the only species capable of standing against the Keth expansion. The ship has been monitoring human progress throughout our stasis period, the AI continued. Your development has accelerated even more in the past century. Nuclear power, computers, space travel, global communication, changes that should have taken thousands of years have happened in decades. What does this mean for us? Minho asked. The AI's response sent chills through the entire team. It means that humanity may be the galaxy's last hope against the Keth. But it also means that if the Keth discover how quickly humans are advancing, they will make Earth their highest priority target. Your world would face the full force of their expansion fleet. The weight of this knowledge settled over them like a heavy blanket. They had found more than just an ancient spacecraft. They had discovered that humanity was part of a vast galactic community under threat, and that Earth might hold the key to survival or destruction for countless worlds. The ship waited patiently around them, its systems fully active now, ready to share 10,000 years of accumulated knowledge. But with that knowledge came a terrible responsibility. What they did next would determine not just the future of humanity, but the fate of every remaining free civilization in the galaxy. The Arun ship's artificial intelligence had taken on a name during its conversations with the human team. It called itself Keeper Von, after the Aran concept of preserving knowledge for future generations. For 3 days now, Keeper Von had been sharing the accumulated wisdom of a galactic civilization with the small group of humans who had found its ship buried in Arctic ice. Dr. Kim Tae-ho sat in the ship's main control room, staring at displays showing the current state of the galaxy. Red zones marked areas now controlled by the Keth. The red covered nearly half of all inhabited space. Show us more about the Keth military capabilities, requested Captain Jang Min-ho. As a military officer, he needed to understand exactly what threat humanity might face. New images filled the screens. Keth warships were massive and angular, built like flying fortresses. Their weapons could destroy entire cities from orbit. Their armies used technology taken from hundreds of conquered worlds. The Keth expansion follows a predictable pattern, Keeper Vaughn explained. They send scout ships to identify valuable targets. If a world shows advanced technology or valuable resources, they dispatch a conquest fleet. Most civilizations surrender rather than face total destruction. Dr. Park Ji-woo had been studying the historical records, but some civilizations fought back. What happened to them? Complete destruction, Keeper Vaughn replied simply. The Keth do not accept partial victory. A world either surrenders completely or is stripped of all life and resources. Lee Dong-min felt a chill run down his spine. How long do we have? If they're expanding as you describe, when will they reach Earth? Unknown. The Keth prioritize targets based on technological advancement and strategic value. Earth's rapid development may have already attracted their attention, or you may have centuries before they arrive. Dr. Choi Hana had been studying the RN defensive technologies stored in the ship's database. Could we defend ourselves if they came? Using your technology? That is the question we must address, Keeper Vaughn said. I can share Aaron knowledge and technology with humanity. Our shields, weapons, and faster-than-light travel could give your species tools to resist the Keth, but there would be consequences. Yoon Subin looked up from her communication station. What kind of consequences? Accelerating human technological development would make your species impossible to ignore. If the Keth detect advanced technology on Earth, they will prioritize your world for immediate conquest. You would face their full military force within years, not centuries. The team fell silent as they considered this terrible choice. Accept alien technology and face almost certain invasion, or remain defenseless and hope the Keth never noticed Earth. Kang Hyun-woo had been working with Arun computer systems for days. I've learned enough about your technology to know that humans could adapt it quickly, he said. Maybe faster than you expect. That is precisely why this decision is so critical, Keeper Vaughn replied. Human adaptability is both your greatest strength and your greatest danger. You would incorporate Aaron technology into your own systems and improve upon it rapidly, but the Keth would detect this advancement immediately. Dr. Lim Bora had been monitoring the stasis pods containing the Arun crew. Is there any chance of reviving your people? We could use their help. The stasis systems have been active too long. Revival would likely result in cellular damage or death. I am the only conscious representative of RN civilization remaining. Oh Soo-jin had been analyzing data from across the galaxy. According to these records, no civilization has successfully resisted the Keth for more than a few years. Even when multiple worlds worked together, they were eventually defeated. Correct. The Keth learn from each conflict and adapt their strategies. What worked against them once will not work again. Taeho rubbed his tired eyes. So we're looking at a choice between certain defeat later or probable defeat sooner, but with better weapons. Not entirely accurate, Keeper Vaughn corrected. You are looking at a choice between certain defeat eventually, or a chance at victory now. The AI brought up new displays showing detailed analysis of human development patterns. No other species has shown humanity's capacity for rapid adaptation and innovation under pressure. When faced with challenges, humans consistently develop solutions faster than our models predict. You think we could actually win? Min-ho asked. I think humans represent variables that do not exist in our calculations for any other species. The Keth have conquered hundreds of worlds, but they have never faced an opponent that can adapt and innovate as quickly as humans. Hana studied the technical specifications for RN weapons and shields. How long would it take to adapt this technology for human use? For most species, decades or centuries, Keeper Vaughn replied. For humans, based on observed development rates, possibly months or years. Subin had been monitoring communications from the outside world. We're going to have to make a decision soon. Government officials are starting to ask questions about our extended mission here. The team had been avoiding contact with the outside world while they processed the enormity of their discovery. But they couldn't hide in the RN ship forever. There's another factor to consider, Keeper Vaughn said. The activation of this ship's systems may have already been detected by Keth monitoring stations. They track unusual energy signatures across the galaxy. Dongmin straightened in alarm. You mean they might already know we're here? Possible, but not certain. This ship has been dormant for 8,000 years. Its reactivation might appear to be a natural system restart, rather than evidence of new intelligent contact. Bora looked at the peaceful faces of the sleeping Aran in their stasis pods. What would your people want us to do? The Aran believed that knowledge should be preserved and shared with those who could use it wisely. But they also believed in the right of each species to choose its own path. Jiwoo had been translating more of the Arun cultural records. Your people were explorers and scientists. They studied other civilizations but didn't try to control them. Correct. We offered knowledge and friendship to those ready to receive it. But we did not force our ways upon others. Hyunwoo was studying the ship's manufacturing capabilities. This vessel can produce Aran technology. We could start building defenses immediately if we decided to accept your help. The choice must be unanimous among your leadership, Keeper Vaughn said. Once Aran technology is integrated with human systems, there is no returning to your previous technological level. The Keth would detect the changes immediately. Taeho looked around at his team. These 8 people had become the most important humans alive, whether they wanted that responsibility or not. The decision they made would affect every person on Earth. Let's say we accept your technology, he said slowly. What exactly would you give us? Shield technology that can protect your cities and spacecraft. Weapons capable of destroying Keth vessels, faster than light communication to coordinate with other worlds. Manufacturing systems to produce advanced equipment quickly, and most importantly, complete access to our galactic database. And in return, nothing. The knowledge is freely given, but I would ask to remain active as an advisor. My understanding of Keth tactics and galactic politics could be valuable. Minho thought about the strategic implications. Even with your technology, we'd be facing an enemy with the resources of hundreds of conquered worlds. True, but the Keth have never faced sustained resistance. They expect quick victories followed by occupation and resource extraction. A prolonged conflict would strain their forces across multiple fronts. Hana realized something important. Other worlds are still free. If we could contact them, coordinate resistance. Many worlds remain unconquered, but they are isolated and defensive. They lack the ability to mount offensive operations against Keth territory. But humans could, Subin said, understanding dawning in her voice. Potentially, yes. Human ships using Arun technology could strike at Keth supply lines and liberate conquered worlds. No other species has the strategic flexibility for such operations. The weight of the decision was overwhelming. Accept alien technology and possibly save galactic civilization, but guarantee that Earth would face invasion within years. Or refuse and hope humanity remained unnoticed until it was too late to resist. How long do we have to decide? Taeho asked. Keeper Vaughn's response chilled them all. Long-range sensors have detected unusual energy signatures approaching the solar system. 3 small vessels still several months away. They could be refugees, traders, or scouts. But given current galactic conditions, scouts are most likely. Keth scouts? Dongmin asked grimly. Probability is high. If correct, they are investigating the energy signature from this ship's reactivation. Earth has perhaps 6 months before they arrive and report back to the Keth expansion fleet. The choice had been made for them. They could prepare for war with alien technology as allies, or face invasion with only human weapons and no warning of what was coming. But first, they had to convince the leaders of Earth that their impossible story was true, and that humanity's survival depended on accepting help from an alien intelligence that had been waiting 8,000 years for someone to find its ship buried in the ice. The emergency meeting took place in a secure facility beneath Geneva, with world leaders connected by encrypted video links. Dr. Kim Taeho had never imagined he would be addressing the United Nations Security Council, the heads of major space agencies, and military commanders from around the globe. The approaching ships will reach Earth's outer solar system in 4 months, he reported, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what he was saying. Keeper Vaughn's analysis indicates they are almost certainly Keth scouts. Once they confirm Earth's technological advancement, a full invasion fleet will follow within a year. The response was exactly what the team had expected. Disbelief, arguments, demands for more proof. It took 3 days of presentations, demonstrations of Aran technology, and direct communication with Keeper Vaughn before the world's leaders accepted the truth. But acceptance was only the beginning. Dr. Park Ji-woo, found herself working 18-hour days, leading teams of linguists and computer scientists in establishing communication protocols with Keeper Vaughn. The AI's knowledge had to be translated not just into human languages, but into concepts that human technology could process. The manufacturing systems are the key, reported Kang Hyun-woo from his new laboratory complex built around the Arun ship. We can produce Arun technology using human materials, but we need to modify the designs for human use. The ship had been moved from the Arctic ice to a secure facility where thousands of scientists and engineers could work with its systems. But even with unlimited resources and the world's brightest minds, time was running short. Dr. Choi Hana had been tasked with adapting Arun shield technology for human cities. The power requirements are enormous, she reported. We'll need to build new nuclear plants just to run the defensive systems. Captain Jong Min-ho was coordinating the military response. Traditional armies would be useless against the Keth, but human spacecraft equipped with Arun weapons might stand a chance. The problem was that humanity had only a few dozen spacecraft capable of reaching orbit, and none designed for combat. We need to build a fleet from nothing, he reported grimly. The Arun designs are helping, but we're starting centuries behind where we need to be. Lee Dong-min had been placed in charge of global security coordination. If the Keth had infiltrators or human collaborators, they had to be found before they could sabotage Earth's defenses. Yoon Soo-bin was working on the most important project of all, establishing contact with other free worlds. If Earth was going to survive, it needed allies. I've made contact with 12 civilizations still free from Keth control, she reported. Most of them are hiding in remote systems, trying to avoid detection. They're willing to share information, but none of them believe active resistance is possible. That's about to change, said Oh Soo-jin, who had been analyzing Keth tactical data from the ship's database. Their standard strategy assumes quick victory followed by consolidation. They've never had to fight a prolonged campaign against multiple targets simultaneously. Dr. Lim Bo-ra had made a breakthrough in understanding human Arun technological compatibility. Our brains process information differently than the Arun did, she reported. Where they used pure logic and careful analysis, humans use intuition and creative thinking. We can operate their technology in ways they never considered. The first major test came when Keeper Vaughn detected the Keth scout ships entering the outer solar system. They were still months away from Earth, but their sensors were already scanning for signs of advanced technology. They've detected the modified energy signatures from our shield tests, Keeper Vaughn reported. The lead scout is transmitting data back to the Keth expansion fleet. How long before the invasion fleet arrives? Tae-ho asked. 8 to 10 months, depending on their current position and available ships. The deadline focused everyone's efforts. Around the clock, human factories produced components for Arun-designed weapons and shields. Human spacecraft were retrofitted with alien technology. Human cities prepared for siege. But the most important development was happening in space. The first human ship equipped with Arun, faster-than-light drive, launched 6 months after first contact with Keeper Vaughn. Its mission was to reach other free worlds and coordinate resistance. The ship reached the Zephyr system in 3 days, Subin reported excitedly. The journey should have taken 2 years with conventional drives. The local civilization is amazed. They want to join a coordinated defense. More ships followed, carrying Arun technology to other worlds. For the first time in thousands of years, civilizations threatened by the Keth had hope. But the real test came when the Keth scouts reached Earth. 3 sleek, angular ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, scanning planets and analyzing defenses. They expected to find a primitive world with basic technology, easy prey for conquest. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented in Keth experience. Human ships met them beyond Mars, moving faster than Keth vessels and armed with weapons that adapted during combat. When the Keth tried their standard intimidation tactics, human crews responded with strategies no galactic database contained. The lead scout is trying to retreat, reported the captain of Earth's flagship. Their weapons can't penetrate our shields, and our guns are cutting through their armor. The battle was over in minutes. 2 Keth ships were destroyed, and the third was captured intact. Keeper Vaughn analyzed the results with something approaching amazement. In 8,000 years of galactic records, no civilization has ever captured a Keth vessel in their first engagement. But the victory came with a price. The Keith now knew exactly what they were facing. The invasion fleet will be much larger than originally planned, Keeper Vaughn warned. They will commit the full force of their expansion army to Earth's conquest. Hyunwoo had been studying the captured Keth ship. Their technology is powerful but inflexible. They don't adapt quickly to new situations. Every system is designed for overwhelming force, not creative tactics. That's our advantage, Minho realized. They're used to fighting predictable enemies. The Keth invasion fleet arrived 10 months after first contact, expecting to crush a single primitive world. Instead, they found a coordinated defense involving dozens of civilizations, led by humans who fought like no enemy they had ever encountered. Human ships struck at Keth supply lines while alien worlds provided intelligence and resources. Keth forces found themselves fighting on multiple fronts against enemies who changed tactics faster than Keth commanders could adapt. The decisive battle took place in Earth's orbit. 1,000 Keth ships faced a combined fleet of human and alien vessels, expecting easy victory through superior numbers. But humans had learned to use Aaron technology in ways its creators never imagined. Human pilots flew with intuition and creativity that confused Keth tactical computers. Human engineers modified weapons during combat, creating new capabilities faster than Keth shields could adapt. Their formation is breaking apart, reported Subin from the command center. They can't coordinate against our attack patterns. The Keth had never retreated from a conquest. In 10,000 years of expansion, they had never been defeated by their intended victims. But Earth's defense shattered their psychological certainty, along with their military formation. When the surviving Keth ships fled Earth's solar system, they carried news that would transform the galaxy. The unstoppable expansion had been stopped. The conquered worlds began to hope again. Taeho stood in the Arun ship's control room, watching displays that showed the changing balance of power across the galaxy. Human ships were liberating conquered worlds, teaching other civilizations to fight back, spreading Arun technology and human tactics to every corner of free space. Your people have accomplished something remarkable, Keeper Vaughn observed. In less than 2 years, humanity has gone from unknown primitives to leaders of galactic resistance. We had good teachers, Taeho replied. But it was more than that. Humans had brought something to the galaxy that had been missing for thousands of years. The willingness to change, to adapt, to fight against impossible odds and find new ways to win. Jiwoo was establishing new communication networks between liberated worlds. Bora was teaching alien species human medical techniques that saved lives their own science couldn't help. Hana was sharing human understanding of physics that solved problems Arun science had never addressed. The galaxy was learning to change again, to innovate, to dream of better futures instead of just surviving. What happens now? Minho asked, looking at star maps that showed Keth territory shrinking as world after world declared independence. Now we finish what we started, Taeho said. We don't just defend ourselves. We make sure the Keth can never threaten anyone again. Human fleets were already moving deeper into Keth space, not for conquest, but for liberation. Every world they freed became another ally, another source of strength for the growing coalition. The Arun had been explorers and scientists, seeking knowledge across the stars. Humanity was bringing something different to the galaxy, the fire of constant change, the refusal to accept defeat, the drive to make tomorrow better than today. Keeper Vaughn's systems had recorded it all, preserving the story of how a young species from a small world had awakened a sleeping galaxy and T,